we are going deep on one of the most, well, culturally dominant cities on Earth, Paris.
That's right.
Forget the cliches, the postcards.
Yeah.
Our mission here is to really understand the mix, the history, geography, the ambition that built this incredible engine of, political, economic, and cultural power.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the destiny of this city.
Right, and our goal for you, the listener, is to kind of move beyond just spotting the famous landmarks.
Yeah, get past the surface level stuff.
Exactly. We want you to really grasp the foundational forces, the things that cemented Paris as this global hub. And when you look at its sources, you realize Paris wasn't just like destined for greatness by chance. It was created by a whole series of deliberate choices that really leverage this amazing geographical advantage.
And that advantage, that's where we really need to start, isn't it? Geographically, Paris sits right in the middle of north-central France. It defines that huge, wealthy Île-de-France region.
Which is the country's biggest population and economic center.
Yeah, but the real blueprint of the city, it's drawn by the Seine River.
Oh, that river is absolutely everything. It essentially creates two different cities, each historically focusing on a different function.
And that division still matters today, right?
It's fundamental. The right bank, the Rive Droite, that's historically where you find the commerce, the finance, the political centers, those grand boulevards. It's the engine of wealth, basically.
And the flip side is the left bank, the Rive Gauche. That's always been the intellectual heartland.
Exactly. Home to places like the Sorbonne. It was the land of students, philosophers, thinkers, that sort of vibe.
So this natural watery boundary created this dynamic tension almost.
Yeah.
The money on the right bank sort of fueling the ideas on the left.
Precisely. And if the Seine is the main artery, then that little island right in the middle, the Ile de Cité.
Oh, that's where Notre Dame is.
Right. That tiny piece of land was the original settlement. It was small, easy to defend, a perfect spot for trading and for, well, military strategy. It became the gravitational center for French history and power, really.
Okay, so that little island dictated where people first settled.
Yeah.
But what did they actually call it back then? The sources say the name Paris comes from a Celtic tribe, the Parisi.
They settled there around the 3rd century BC, but then the Romans showed up and they gave it their own name, Lutetia Parisiorum.
Lutetia.
And what's really interesting is where Lutetia might come from. The speculation is it derives from the Latin word ludum,
which means?
Mud or clay.
No way, mud.
Yeah, it gives you this really stark image, doesn't it? The city we think of as the height of sophistication and glamour.
Yeah.
Its roots might literally be in a muddy river settlement.
Wow. What a journey from muddy Lutetia to its modern nickname, La Ville Lumière, the City of Light.
And that title isn't just poetry. It's got this powerful dual meaning that really captures the city's impact.
Tell us about that duality.
Well, on one hand, it's actually a practical historical fact. Paris was one of the first major European capitals to get widespread public street lighting.
Back in the 18th century, wasn't it?
That's right. They lit up their streets, made it safer, signaled modernity. It was a big deal.
But there's a deeper meaning too, right? The intellectual one.
Absolutely. Paris became the undisputed epicenter of thought during the Enlightenment. All those ideas about reason, liberty, human rights, the concepts that fueled revolutions and shaped modern governments everywhere.
They were being hashed out in Paris.
Exactly. Discussed, written about, debated in Parisian salons, in coffee houses. So Paris was a beacon, lighting up the world intellectually, not just with gas lamps.
Okay, let's set the scene physically a bit more. It's mostly flat, right?
All right.
Average elevation only about 35 meters.
Yeah, largely flat, which gives it that kind of unified, controlled look in many areas, though you do have the dramatic exception of Montmartre, that hill rising up to 130 meters.
And the climate.
Temperate oceanic, so moderate humidity, and you get that characteristic light fog in autumn and winter.
As to the atmosphere, I suppose. The poetic atmosphere artists love.
Definitely part of its charm.
Yeah.
So you have this strategically located, sometimes foggy settlement, and then it gets its political clout.
Right. This is Clovis III.
Yes. In 508 AD, Clovis, the leader of the Merovingian Franks, he chose Paris as his capital. And that wasn't a minor decision.
No, it sounds huge.
It was a massive political act. It fundamentally shifted the center of Frankish power right there to the Seine, established its political importance for, well, the next 1,500 years.
And political power often attracts intellectual power, doesn't it?
It certainly did here. The sources really emphasize the founding of the University of Paris in the 12th century. This wasn't just some local school.
No.
It immediately became a major European center for learning, especially philosophy and theology. Its reputation just pulled in scholars from all over the continent.
So a continuous stream of brain power feeding the city.
Exactly, which kept reinforcing its importance.
Okay, that continuous rise takes us neatly into part 2, the shaping of modern Paris. The city defined as much by its design as its history. And we absolutely have to talk about Haussmannization.
Oh, yeah. You can't talk about modern Paris without Haussmann. This was probably the single biggest urban renewal project of the 19th century, roughly 1853 to 1870.
Commissioned by Napoleon III, carried out by Baron Haussmann. What was the main goal? Just make it prettier.
Well, yes, making Paris healthier and more beautiful was part of it. Wider streets, better airflow, parks, modern sewers.
But the sources hinted something deeper, more political.
Oh, absolutely. Haussmann tore down those dense, medieval, winding streets, the kind of streets perfect for citizens to throw up barricades and start uprisings.
Oh, right, like in Les Miserables.
Exactly like that. And in their place, he created the wide, straight, symmetrical boulevards and Paris is famous for today.
Making barricades impossible and letting troops move easily. So urban design as political control.
Very much so. And it was revolutionary in terms of aesthetics, too. Haussmann imposed this standardized architecture, the uniform building fronts, the ornate balconies, the height limits.
That cohesive look we recognize instantly.
That's the one. That project, plus the modern water and sewage systems, it basically set the standard for modern city planning across Europe and even globally.
And these grand boulevards, they frame the city's iconic monuments, which are like historical symbols themselves. Let's start with Notre Dame. Construction began way back in 1163.
Yeah, the ultimate Gothic masterpiece right there on that historic core, the Ile de la Cité.
Its symbolic weight is just immense, isn't it? Victor Hugo's novel helped save it back in the day.
It really did. His book spurred a huge preservation effort. And even now, think about the global reaction to the fire in 2019.
Oh, absolutely. The shock was palpable worldwide.
And the massive effort to restore it now, it just underlines its role. It's not just a building, it's like a living piece of French historical memory.
Then there's the Louvre. Hard to believe it started as a fortress in the 12th century.
Fortress, then royal palace. It only became a public museum after the French Revolution in 1793.
Which was itself a hugely symbolic act, right?
Yeah.
Handing royal treasures over to the people.
Exactly. And what's great there is the contrast you see today, that classic French Renaissance architecture.
Right next to that super modern glass pyramid by I.M. Pei from 1989.
Yeah. It's such a perfect visual for how Paris constantly folds the new into the old. It just keeps evolving.
And speaking of controversy, the Eiffel Tower. Built for the 1889 World's Fair, celebrating 100 years since the revolution.
People hated it at first, didn't they?
Oh, there was massive opposition. Artists, writers.
Yeah.
They thought this iron monstrosity was hideous. It was only supposed to stand for 20 years.
Hard to imagine Paris without it now.
Impossible.
Yeah.
But it held on. And it quickly transformed into the ultimate symbol of industrial progress, of French engineering. And now, it's the most visited paid monument on the planet.
Something like 7 million visitors a year. Around that, yeah. That whole journey from hated structure to global icon really shows the city's knack for turning, well, controversy into lasting influence.
And all this structural political boldness seems to feed directly into Paris's role as a creative hothouse. Yeah. It wasn't just displaying art, it was birthing global movements, Impressionism.
Impressionism was born there, and it was the incubator for Cubism, with giants like Picasso and Braque working in places like Montmartre.
Up near Sacré-Cœur.
That's the area. And that tradition of intellectual, it wasn't locked away in universities either. It spilled out into the historic literary cafes.
Like Café de Flore, Le Demagogue.
Exactly. They functioned almost like outdoor salons. You had figures like Jean-Paul Sartre, Simone de Beauvoir, literally doing their philosophical work, holding debates right there in public.
The thinking itself became a public performance almost.
Paris made thinking a public, observable act. Yeah.
Okay, which leads us very nicely into part 3. Economy and global soft power. How does all that history, art, and intellect translate into actual economic muscle today?
Oh, it translates into an absolute titan. The Paris region is enormous economically. It contributes something like 30% of France's entire GDP.
30%. That's huge. And what's the driver?
It's overwhelmingly the service sector, over 85%. That makes it a really agile, high-value economy, especially strong in finance.
And you see that physically in La Défense, right? That cluster of skyscrapers just outside the historic center.
Exactly. Europe's largest purpose-built business district. It houses Euronext Paris, one of the continent's biggest stock exchanges.
And I read the sources mentioned a recent bump from Brexit.
Yeah, that's interesting. The sources do suggest that the UK leaving the EU gave Paris a significant boost as a key European financial hub.
Makes sense. Banks and investment firms needing a solid base inside the Eurozone.
Precisely. It highlights that strong interplay between finance and politics in Paris.
And then you have the whole luxury economy. Paris isn't just a leader there, it seems like the undisputed world capital.
Undisputed is the word. Haute couture, Fashion Week, pulling in global attention, headquarters for giants like L'Oreal, Chanel, Dior. It's massive.
It's like cultural dominance turned directly into billions in revenue.
That's a good way to put it, but it's not just about looking good. It's backed by serious science and academic power, too.
Beyond the historic Sorbonne.
Way beyond.
Yeah.
There's this huge modern initiative, the Plateau de Saclay project. People are calling it the French Silicon Valley.
Okay, tell me more about that. What makes it significant?
It's the scale, really. It's bringing together major universities like the consolidated Paris-Saclay University with thousands of research labs, over 3,000.
Wow.
It's creating this dense ecosystem specifically designed to attract and keep top global scientific talent. It's a very deliberate strategy to stay at the cutting edge technologically.
Building on a pretty impressive history, though. You had figures like Marie Curie.
Marie Curie, a double Nobel winner. Louis Pasteur, foundational for microbiology. Lavoisier, the father of modern chemistry. They all did their groundbreaking work in Paris. It's a deep legacy.
And Paris also wields significant diplomatic power, hosting major international organizations.
Absolutely. It's the headquarters for huge bodies like UNESCO, has been since 1946, and the OECD.
And it's been the stage for major world events, too. The 1919 Peace Conference after World War I.
Which led to the Versailles Treaty, yeah. And more recently, the crucial 2015 Climate Conference, COP21. Hosting these events reinforces its global political standing.
Managing all this, the people, the economy, the diplomacy must require incredible infrastructure. The metro system is famous, of course.
It's iconic. 16 lines, over 300 stations. It's historic, but still vital. But they're not resting on that. There's the massive ongoing Grand Paris Express project.
Right, I saw that mentioned. This is a big deal, isn't it?
It's huge. Currently the largest transport infrastructure project anywhere in Europe. It's adding over 200 kilometers of new automated lines and 68 new stations.
And the goal is better connection with the suburbs.
Exactly. To better integrate the wider region, including areas that felt disconnected, and just improve overall connectivity. It's a massive investment in the future.
And that seems to tie into their sustainability goals, too, the Paris 2030 strategy.
Yeah, it all fits together. That strategy aims for a big cut in carbon emissions, 50%, and much greater reliance on renewables. They're trying to balance being this historic world city with being a modern, sustainable one.
Okay, so let's try and pull all these threads together. We've got the river, the revolution, the boulevards, the finance, the art. When you synthesize all these layers, what's the big picture?
The big picture is that Paris is this almost perfectly realized example of strategic development over centuries. Its original river location gave it trade power.
Then Clovis gave it political status.
Right. Then you add the intense intellectual focus, the Ville Lumière idea, and that radical urban transformation under Haussmann.
Which was both aesthetic and about control.
Exactly. It all combined to create this unique magnet for culture, for intellect, for money. It's a city where history, global finance, art, politics, they all converge into this single, incredibly influential identity.
So the key things for you, the listener, to take away today are probably that fundamental split between the left bank for thought and the right bank for commerce, driven by the same.
Definitely.
The powerful double meaning of the City of Light, actual streetlights and Enlightenment brilliance, and that Haussmann revolution, how it shaped the look and the political reality of modern Paris.
We've seen how it managed to constantly reinvent itself from, muddy Lutetia to the center of the Enlightenment, and now a leader in finance, culture, diplomacy. It's a continuous story of adapting and maintaining power.
But let's leave you with one final, maybe slightly unsettling thought to chew on. Beneath all the glamour, the high fashion, the sparkling Eiffel Tower, Paris holds the catacombs.
Ah, yes, the
A
catacombs.
massive underground network, something like 300 kilometers of tunnels, holding the remains of millions of Parisians?
Millions. It's vast down there.
So here's the question. How does a city rooted so deeply in the earth, remember Lutetia, maybe meaning clay, and containing such an enormous underground city of the dead, how does it manage to constantly project this image as the ultimate global symbol of light, of ephemeral beauty and, well, romantic love?
That's quite the paradox.
It really is. Think about that contrast next time you picture the City of Light.